Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mystery Mingle. I'm so excited because we have Kat Ailes with us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so if you can't hear, Kat has a wonderful British accent, which I always telling her, like, it doesn't matter what she says, it will just be brilliant because it's British.
Thank you.
So this way, no pressure. No, whatever you say will be amazing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and where you're at? And it's pretty late for you.
Yeah, it is. I'm over in England and it's 9 o'clock here, which for me is incredibly late because I have two small children. So I go to bed at like 7 p.m. But yeah, so thanks for having me on. I'm Kat. I have written a cozy mystery book called The Expectant Detectives, which came out in America, I think 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty new for you guys. It came out in the UK a little bit earlier last summer. But yeah, it's just out in the States now. And so I'm hearing from lots of American readers through things like Instagram, which is lovely. And so it's great to be chatting with you about Cozy Mystery and the Expectant Detectives. Do you want me to say a little bit about the book?
Yeah,
Or...
that would be. Yeah, let's tell everyone what the book's about and the murder mystery.
Yeah, all right. So it's Cozy Mystery, which that's the sort of lighter side of murder mystery, if that doesn't sound completely paradoxical. It is set in the UK because that's where I live and that's what I know. And it basically follows our main character and the narrator Alice, who moves from London to the Cotswolds, which is a sort of very cute part of the British countryside, and it is where I live. It's very idyllic. It's the kind of places you see on those films, like I don't know if you've seen like The Holiday or something. I think
Oh yeah,
is
everybody loves
it
The
Jude
Holiday.
Law in that?
Yes.
Yes. So his like little cottage or whatever, that's in the Cotswolds. So that's where the book is set. So when Alice and her boyfriend moved down to the Cotswolds, it's a bit of a culture shock from London to the countryside, and they're also expecting their first baby. So they join a antenatal class. Is that what you call it in the States?
We
Antenatal
call
or
it.
postnatal?
I don't know. I don't have kids, but prenatal, I think.
Yeah. Yes, prenatal sounds right. I did go through all this with when we did the sort of translation from
Mhm.
UK English to US English, but it's some of it slipped out of my brain. So they join a prenatal class, and at their second class, things go a little bit wonky when one of the mums gives birth, and at the same time, someone is murdered in the shop below where the class is being held. So then the book sort of unfolds, the mystery unfolds. Alice and the other mums to be in the class are getting sort of drawn into this mystery, in part to clear their names. They're under suspicion because, of course, they were all there, and in part to sort of do something in that weird hinterland that you have between that time with.
You froze. We'll just wait and see if it refreshes. Oh, we lost Kat. All right. Well, maybe she'll rejoin while we're waiting. It looked like she had a little bit of an internet problem. So the book is about a pregnant detective. So her main character is pregnant, and inside of here, they were living in London. They decide to move out to the country. It's their first time out in the country. They're definitely like city people. And when they get out there, there we go. You're
Oh my
back.
God. I'm
All
so
right.
sorry. I hope this isn't going to happen often. I was saying
Yeah.
to Lisa before, it's my rubbish,
Oh,
countryside internet
it's
here.
fine. So I was filling them in. So the rest of the book. So it's a murder mystery and everybody's pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I really loved about it. It's everyone's there are very few, I'm not going to say none, but I've never read any where the main character is actually pregnant. So I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, pregnant women are sort of weirdly invisible in a lot of. I'm really sorry. It's working again. Sorry, that was my partner just letting me know that our internet's on the blink. Yeah, so pregnant women are sort of weirdly invisible in a lot of spheres, I think, in like the workplace and everything, but also very noticeably in sort of TV and books and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pregnant at the time I started writing this, and I thought, let's put some pregnant people center stage.
Yeah.
See
Yeah,
what
because I
happens.
think people think like once women are pregnant, like they should just be sitting on a couch, resting, doing absolutely nothing, right? And these women are all out and they're trying to solve a murder. And some of them are like our main characters in her 9th month, right?
Yeah, she's about to go. But I mean, yeah, people have a lot of opinions, I think, about
Mm-hmm.
what women should and shouldn't do when they're pregnant. But I mean, was it Serena Williams won Wimbledon or something when she was like 3 months pregnant? Like, women can do a lot of things
Right.
whilst being pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So everyone's
so the big question that everyone has, or maybe it's just me. So the next books in the series, what are we going to do? How is everyone going to remain pregnant?
just keep churning out the babies. So the second book is done, and I think comes out in America in June or July, but
Mm-hmm.
quite soon. And no one is pregnant in that, so they've all had the babies.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of sort of leaning into the pregnant aspect that we had in the first book, it's now looking into the sort of questions around new parenthood and new motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the same things apply, like the things that you can and can't do or should and shouldn't do as a new mum. And people again have opinions on whether you should be working or not working or all of that. So I've sort of looked at some of that in the second book. And also, I mean, small children are quite a good vehicle for comedy because they do and
Mm-hmm.
say the weirdest things. So yeah, I've used that instead. And then in future books, there will be more pregnancies. So it's going to be a through running theme of like pregnancy and motherhood and yeah, the different aspects.
Very cool. And so this book, let's talk about the unique way that this came about. And I'm actually not familiar with the comedy Women in Print. So do you want to tell everyone your origin story?
Yeah, sure. So this book, um, it the sort of kernel of it, I guess, started
Mm-hmm.
when I was pregnant. I kept a sort of diary for my son through the tail end of my pregnancy and then through his first year. He was a COVID baby, so he was
Mm-hmm.
born 2 days before the
Oh,
UK went into its first lockdown. Did you have lockdowns in
we
America? Like,
definitely did.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would have known it all at the time, but it's all. Sorry, now my dog's trying to break into the
Aw.
room. It's never ending. Yeah, so my son was born 2 days before the UK went into lockdown. So I kept a diary for him just because I thought it was, it's a very interesting time to have
Mm-hmm.
been born. And also because when we were all sort of stuck at home, it gave me a bit of a creative outlet. So these diary entries just started to become a bit more stylized, and like I started to like find a bit of a voice in there. Um, and then my husband read them and he thought they were quite funny and quite
Mm-hmm.
entertaining. So I thought, oh, maybe there's something I can do with this, but I wasn't really sure what.
Mm-hmm.
And then Instagram advertised to me this thing called the Comedy Women in Print Awards, which I hadn't heard of either. But I clicked through and had a look, and they were looking for unpublished writers, and they said submit 5,000 words of your comedy novel.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, 5,000 words, that felt sort of achievable. I looked at the deadline and it was 2 days away. And I was like, okay, 2 days, but it's 5,000 words. I can probably do that. So I took my diary entries and just turned them into the opening of this novel. Obviously, there was no murder at my prenatal class, but a lot of it is drawn from our experience, which is my partner and I, we moved down from London to the Cotswolds when I was 9 months pregnant, and we joined a prenatal class and all of that. So I was just fictionalizing my experience and my diary entries. Then I sent it off to this prize. Didn't really think much more about it. And then 2 or 3 months later, I had this email saying that I'd been longlisted. And I thought, that's great. And I read the rest of the email and it said, please send your completed novel of no less than 80,000 words for the judges. And I had not read the small print when I entered. I had not written the rest of the novel. When I logged back on to look at their website, it was like in sort of capital letters, underlined, like bold, like this must be part of a completed work. So I emailed the woman and I said, I'm a little bit short on my word count. And, neglected to mention that I was 75,000 words short. And maybe, could I perhaps have a little extension on the deadline? And she, bless her, she said, oh yeah, I think we can give you a couple of weeks. And I thought, okay, can I write a novel in a couple of weeks? I thought I'll give it a crack. And I basically ruined a family holiday by doing it because we were already booked to go away with my in-laws. And so we went on holiday and I sort of handed over my son for everyone else to do childcare while I bashed out 75,000 words. And then I submitted my novel, which I think was 80,020 words. So I just got it over the line. And I didn't think it wasn't my best work. It had been written in a bit of a rush. But it made the shortlist, which was great. And then it actually won the RunnerUp Prize. So I was so pleased about that because it had all happened in such a flurry. I had no perspective on whether it was any good or not. I hadn't had time to even properly read it through before I'd sent it in. So, it's a lesson in always read the small print. But then if I had, I probably wouldn't have entered. So I'm kind of glad I just went in head first. But of course, that sort of 3-week writing job is not the finished product. I was very lucky that just in getting the Runners-Up Prize, I got some interest from a few agents and met with them and signed with my current agent, who is fantastic. And then she worked on the manuscript with me. And then my various editors, my UK editor, my US editor, they've all worked on the book. And it's a lot more polished now than what I initially submitted. So yeah, that's how it happened.
I mean, that's very impressive. Like, I'm a little short and you wrote 75. You wrote the whole thing like in a couple weeks on holiday.
It was an act of desperation.
That's very
But also I think it was something I obviously really wanted to do because probably the sensible thing at that point would have been to just say, oh, sorry, I haven't done it. But I don't know. I think if you might as well try.
Yeah, for sure. You never know what could happen. I mean, you got an agent. So is your agent in the US or the UK, or did it make a difference to you?
I have a UK agent. So my UK agent sells rights to like different territories around the world. So she sold it to a UK publisher and a US publisher, and then it's also sold in a couple of European countries, so France, Denmark, Hungary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is exciting. So I keep being sent sort of book jackets in different languages, and it's all very exciting.
Yeah, so let's talk about because I know you said you put it in American, but and I just read I went through the first few chapters. So let's just go through some British words. that I was not familiar with, which I liked. I wish they would have left all the British words in there because I like when I read a British cozy, like, oh, that's what they
Oh,
call it.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For feedback, in case for the second book. So, but posh hippie. So we say shabby chic. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Oh, kind of. So do you have hippies? Do you have like
We have
no?
hipsters.
Oh no, it's quite different.
No,
Hippies are
we
quite
don't have
different.
any hippies. Not since the 70s. It's like a old 1960s, 70s thing.
Okay, well, it's definitely still going in the
Mhm.
UK, especially in the countryside, I would say. Not so much in the cities. But yeah, I mean, it's just a continuation of like the 60s movement. But also, I would say, I think posh hippie is quite a particular British thing. In
Mhm.
that, so you know, like how hippies are, it's very earthy and it's all natural and um, yeah, that sort of
They
yeah,
love
back
the
to
earth, right?
nature. Yeah, like the kind of Earth Mother vibe.
Mhm.
You get a lot of hippies in the UK. Not a lot, but a few hippies in the UK where it's a very wholesome sort of I live a very simple life kind of portrayal. But then you find out that actually they have like a trust fund and they can afford to not be in like the capitalist rat race because they inherited 5 million pounds.
So they're
So
kind of like
it's like that
fake hippies.
kind of, yeah, like yeah, like I think they really do believe like in all the like hippie values, but to a certain extent it's a lot easier to buy into all of that if you have the comfort of a nice trust fund behind you and you find out that like your hippie friend has like a £1 million flat in London and like just things like that. And their name's not really Ocean, it's actually like Petronella or something really fancy. Um, so yeah, we also it's sometimes called like champagne socialism in the UK as well. Like it's it's definitely a bit of a thing. And
Champagne
where I live in the
socialism.
Cotswolds, there's quite a bit of it.
That's very cool. Okay, so now let's go to, and I don't even know if the P is pence or piece, 99p chicken McGristle burger.
Oh yeah.
I was like, when I saw the Mick, I was like, is that McDonald's? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's sort of yeah. Do you have like the 99 like a 99 cent menu or anything at McDonald's in
I
America?
don't think so.
Oh, okay. So in the UK, the McDonald's have like the whole like 99p menu, which is just like the really like and I mean McDonald's is not expensive quality meat, but this is
Mhm.
like the really cheap like the 99p burger is like you don't want to think about what's gone into that.
Yeah, we don't have that at all. And so it's 99 pence. Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
99
Okay.
pence. So it's like almost a pound. I don't know what that would be like, just over a dollar, I guess.
I think it's $2 in the US.
Okay. I do find it interesting though, like, because I have spent some time in America and I went to quite a few McDonald's, and it is
Mhm.
interesting, like, in different countries, they have different menus, they have different stuff on offer.
Yes.
So when I went to a McDonald's in California and they had a burger where the bun was replaced with like pancakes.
Uh-huh.
That was incredible.
Oh yeah, I've never heard of that either. But yeah, I've never heard. We do not have an. I mean, I just got. So I really like the breakfast burrito and the hash brown at McDonald's for breakfast, and I think that was like $10 or something for
Oh,
just two things. So our McDonald's menu is very expensive.
oh yeah, no, we have the 99p menu. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's sort of what I was
I don't know
referencing
why we don't
there.
have that. Okay, very cool. And then the last one is cheese straw.
Oh yeah, you don't have two
I
straws.
don't even know what that is. Is that a concept? Is
Oh,
that like something you eat? Is that
oh yeah,
a
yeah.
bad straw?
It's like flaky. It's like a flaky pastry,
Uh-huh.
like a savory pastry, and it's like like a pastry twist with cheese in it.
Oh, a cheese straw. Huh. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I could
don't know
see
why
that.
they
We
don't know
don't
why they're
have
called
that.
that. No? Oh, it's
I don't think they
delicious.
even have savory pastries that you could buy. So there's one place that has savory pastries. They're pot pies, but it's British. It's a British pot
Oh,
pie place.
okay.
And it's like unique. It's the only one I've ever seen ever really in the US.
Oh, it's so interesting that like the food cultures are so different.
Yeah,
Um,
for
and
sure.
a lot of the things that my American editor was picking up on when she went through it
Mhm.
was the food things. It was that, oh, we don't have this brand of food here. And I think I had thought that there was a lot more crossover than there actually is. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've only been to London, so I've never, I think I was in the countryside for a little bit, and then, but just visiting friends, and then we went right back to London. So I
yeah.
have not been there. In
Oh
fact, I
yeah.
was going to ask you about beer. So every
Oh
day,
yeah.
I just know it was really nice. Every day, everyone's like, we have to get to the pub, get a pint. Like we just had to go at like 4 o'clock. It was pretty early. Do you still do they do that in the countryside too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like
Okay.
the post-work pint
All right.
is a big part of British culture, I think. Well, because pubs are such a huge part of British culture. Because in
Mhm.
America, it's much more bar
We don't have
culture.
pubs. We
Yeah,
have
you don't.
there'll be something that's called a gastropub, but nobody knows where it is or
Have,
how to find it. It's usually some weird thing that like maybe there's one in a city and that's it, but everyone just goes to the bar. There's no
do you not
pubs.
have? Do you have like Irish pubs?
We have Irish
No,
bars. We have
Irish
bars that
bars.
are Irish,
Okay.
but we still call them bars. And they don't do
Yeah.
so like I remember in London, it was like everyone flooded the pubs at like 4 o'clock, and then everyone it was like a ghost town then by like 5:30 or 6. Everyone was
Yeah,
gone.
yeah. Because everyone goes for like the like decompression pint
Mhm.
after work. But then I think we have a culture of going home much earlier.
Yes.
Um, when I visited a friend in New York, I was amazed at how much New Yorkers could pack into like one evening. It would be
Yeah.
like after work, I met her and she was like, we're going for a yoga class. And I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, we were going for dinner. And I was like, yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair enough. Then after that, we were going for drinks. And I was like,
Yes.
okay, it's getting quite late. Then after that, we went to a gig. And I was just like, we've done more in one evening than I would normally do in like an entire week.
Yes.
um,
Yeah, I moved to San Diego after being in New York, and it's everything shuts down early everywhere else though, other than New York.
oh, okay. That's a New York thing then, not like
Yeah.
a pan-American. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, pubs here are a huge part of the culture. And in the countryside, I think it's slightly different in that like a country pub and a city pub are quite different vibes, I would
Hmm.
say. Um, the country pub, it's more like people have been out on like a long country walk and there's a lot
Mhm.
of dogs around. There's probably
Hmm.
like an open fire in the winter. Um, but it's still that same sort of you stay for like a leisurely pint or two and then you just sort of head on your way.
Hmm. Yeah, in the US, once you're there, you're just there the whole night. It just keeps going. No one goes home. Oh, look, there's a someone listening. Cheese straws are delicious. I don't know who that is. Okay.
Completely agree.
Starry McKnight. We used I called her McKnight. Starry Night. We used to have a $1 menu, but I don't know now. Oh, yeah, maybe we do have a
Okay,
$1
so
menu.
that would have been the same
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Huh. All right. All right. So this cozy, I really like, and I told, so I was saying you're keeping it real. So this is, would you consider this a millennial cozy? And do you guys have that concept over there? Do you have millennial cozies or no?
I mean obviously we have like the whole like millennial culture, but I've not actually heard like the phrase millennial cozy
Okay.
before. Um because so obviously like the cozy crime thing has really taken off.
Hmm.
And I think particularly with the millennial generation. But I don't think millennial cozy is like a like concept over here.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I was very consciously writing for like the sort of millennial generation, although weirdly, it's been like really popular with more like my parents' generation, like the boomer generation. So like it's being bought by a lot of sort of 60, 70-year-old women, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Even my partner's gran, who's 96, she was like, oh, I loved it. I've given it to all the girls at the golf club. And I was like,
Nice.
okay, it wasn't my target audience, but okay.
Well, I just like that you were keeping it real. So, like, there's actual real language in here. So we have the H double hockey sticks. We have the F word, the poop word. What's another way to say it? Male genitalia words. So, like, were you purposely trying to add those to infuse it to, like, make her more real? Or you didn't even think about it? They just kind of showed up in the book.
Yeah, I didn't massively think about it, but I do think they just became quite integral to Alice's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like sort of subconsciously a way of me making it a bit more millennial in order to differentiate it from the cozy mystery genre that's sort of come before. So we have a long back history of cozy mystery in the UK with things like Agatha Christie, and like it's very twee and it's very cute and quaint, and you know, obviously my book is picking up on a lot of that. It's got this cute, quaint little English village, which is very sweet. And then I think maybe the slightly vulgar language was perhaps a way to counterbalance that and to freshen it up a bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't actually think I swear that much.
Yeah.
Speaking, I know I do in the book, but
right.
Yeah.
So in the book, I guess, what in your mind really differentiates British cozies from American cozies?
So I've got to be honest, I've not read that many American cozies. I read quite a lot of American authors, but not that many of the American cozy crimes. I really, really need to read the Finlay Donovan series because
everyone's
I'm
talking
getting
about that.
so many comparisons and references on like social media and in reviews and stuff. So that is my next read. I've read some Catherine Mackenzie.
Okay.
And actually, I thought it was doing something very similar to mine. I didn't think it was wildly different, but then I think British and American cultures, you know, obviously there's points of difference, and we've, you know, touched on a few of them, but I also think that quite often we're coming from similar places, and so I think in the few that I have read, I didn't notice like vast differences. Perhaps the fact that British cozy mystery almost always happens in the countryside, like almost exclusively, I would say. Whereas American cozy, perhaps not so much. I mean, your back country is so vast, I guess it's not quite such a cozy vibe. You've got like massive mountain ranges and like canyons and deserts and everything, and we have sort of rolling green hills and like little woods and stuff. So I guess that would be the biggest difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any particular novel that like was an inspiration for this book, or did you just like write how you're just like, this is my experiences, not really modeling it after another book?
I don't think I did model it after another book. I mean, inescapably, like the sort of king of cozy crime, certainly over here, is Richard Osman with the Thursday Murder Club series. Like, they're just so popular. Are they as popular in the States?
I've actually never heard of them.
Oh, okay. So Richard Osman he's a TV presenter.
Oh, Richard Osman. Oh, yeah. Everybody knows Richard Osman.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So like obviously his Thursday Murder Club is doing something very similar. It's pensioners, and I've gone to the other end of the age spectrum in a way.
Yes.
I hadn't actually read the Thursday Murder Club when I wrote my first book. I've read all of them since, and I absolutely love them. So I definitely wasn't like modeling on him, and I actually have to be a little bit careful when I'm in the actual process of writing not to read too much in that genre, because I'll start to like ape it. I'll start to chameleon it, which is not, not great. So
yeah, I've heard that from other people too. They just don't want any accidental influences.
Yeah, because it just, when you're reading something, it just seeps into your brain and it
Yes.
affects like your internal monologue and how you're talking to yourself. And
Mhm.
all of that is so like sponge-like. So when I'm not writing, I will devour so many like cozy mysteries. But when I'm actually doing the writing, I need to step back and
Mhm.
read different things and read elsewhere. But yeah, so it wasn't modeled on any particular book, but I do read a lot of cozy mystery, which has probably definitely will have influenced it somehow. And one series that I love that really actually got me into cozy mystery as an adult is actually a middle grade series. It's the Robin Stevens. I don't know if you've come across them.
Mhm.
It's the Murder Most Unladylike series. They're so British. They're so
Huh.
British.
All right, well,
Um,
that's a book recommendation. I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, so I mean they're written for, I guess, like probably 8 to 12-year-olds, like middle grades,
Mhm.
and they're set in the back in the 30s, in 1930s Britain, and they're just delightful, really. They're just yeah.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so I think those that definitely got me into the genre as an adult.
And now, so going back to the countryside, did I read that right? In the first paragraph or the first chapter, it said there's a trademark in there, a TM, right?
Oh
In
yeah,
the book. What is that about?
that's just so maybe that's like a peculiarly British thing. So sometimes if you say something and it's like a bit of a thing, you might put a TM at the end just to like be like, oh, it's a thing. So like moving to the country, it's I don't know if you have the same thing
I've
in the
never seen
States,
that in a
but
book. And I think I've read some British books, but maybe I haven't.
yeah,
So it's not, so you didn't actually trademark it.
no, 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 no.
It's just
It's
like
just a
an
device.
expression. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if we
Just
saw
to
that in
like
another book, it just means like it's a fun phrase that everyone says.
yeah, it's just a weird phrase that's maybe a weird British phrase from the sounds of things.
Okay.
Yeah, just to like sort of it just like flags like, oh, this is a thing that everyone's doing. Because yeah, like moving to the country to have kids, like that's everyone where I live right now.
Oh,
It's like,
okay.
oh yeah, I used to live in London, then I had children, and now I live down here and I have a dog, and yeah, it's
I get
yeah.
it now. All right. So, and is Penton a fictional town?
um, yes,
Okay.
it is.
But it's modeled after Cotswold
Well, so the town,
or the
so the
country.
Cotswolds is like an area. It's
Okay.
in the UK we have this thing called like areas of outstanding national or natural areas of outstanding natural beauty,
Mhm.
and they're like little pockets around the countryside that are considered especially lovely. And so the
Mhm.
Cotswolds is that whole area, and then within the Cotswolds we have several there are several large towns and a couple of cities. So I live in a town called Stroud, which
Mhm.
is about I think about 30,000 people. So it's a small town, and Penton is definitely quite heavily based on it. Although in my head, Penton is a bit smaller.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's heavily based on Stroud. Stroud is a bit posh hippie. It's a bit alternative. There's a lot of so in the book there's sort of this commune that's up in the woods, and there's the sort of apothecary's shop that the murdered guy runs.
Mhm.
And Stroud is like pretty heavy on all those kinds of things. We even have a so in the book the women's inner goddess temple crops up, and that is something that we have in Stroud, and
Nice.
they do a very good gong bath, which I have been to, and it's yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
So a lot
quite a
of
lot.
this is from your real life, and like, how much is Alice like you, like her personality and her mannerisms?
I think quite a lot. I think I'd be lying if I said, "Oh no, she's totally fictional." It definitely comes a lot from my own voice in my own head.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've exaggerated a lot of the aspects of my character in her, and she's not purely me. I've just drawn on I think aspects of my character, which can make it feel quite personal when people say like you know, like, oh, she's like such a ditz. How does she not know this? And I'm like, I did not know that. And people saying, oh, but you never actually do this. And I'm like, yeah, no, I did do that. Because a lot of the little small incidents are drawn from my lived experience. So things like at one point she's just going on a dog walk trying to make a new friend, and finds she's put an omelette in her pocket, and that is something that I did. I mean, I was like 9 months pregnant. My brain was like swamped with hormones, and I had just put this omelette in my pocket at some point. And I was trying to impress this, you know, when you're trying to make new friends as an adult, and you're like, you know, I've got to be really cool, and like, it doesn't work if you have an omelette in your pocket.
Yeah, maybe, unless the person was really hungry for an omelet from someone's pocket.
Yeah. Still makes me, you know, those things that you still feel a bit ashamed when you remember it like 3 years later. You get a bit of a hot flush.
Okay, so very cool. So look at that. We have a fan, Daniel Lynn. The Expected Detectives is great.
Oh, thank you.
So what are your writing? So the second book is coming out this summer, and then what are your writing plans this year for 2024?
My writing plans are, I am supposed to be writing book 3 right now.
Okay.
I've done the pitch. I've done the sort of the synopsis. We've got the general arc of book 3. What I haven't got is actual words on the page. So that has to happen this year. But this is my first time writing with like a really newborn baby who I can actually hear crying upstairs. So my daughter she's just turned 5 months old. And I wrote the previous one when my son was about 1. And I wrote the second one when my son was just turned 3. So I've written books with a toddler around, but I've never done it with a really newborn baby, and it is quite challenging in a number of ways. So my writing plans are try and get book 3 written somehow.
Okay, because you also have a day job too, right?
I do, yes. I actually work in publishing. I'm sort of an insider. Although I have always worked solely on nonfiction. So I'm an editor for like quite serious nonfiction. I do politics and history and science and that kind of thing. So it's very far removed from what I'm writing, which is good. I think it would be too hard to be like sitting on both sides of the fence as author and editor. So yeah, I will be going back to my day job in the summer in August, and I really need to have book 3 written by then. So the clock is ticking.
So do you have a secret to anyone that you can share with anyone else on how to balance 2 toddlers and still find time to write?
No, because I haven't managed it yet.
We'll check back with you for book 2 then.
Maybe I just need to give myself that 3 weeks again and be like, I'm going to blast it in 3 weeks. I think that probably is what I will do though for the first draft. With both books, the first and second books, it feels good just to get like words on the page, because you can go back and you can reshape and reshape and reshape. You can edit as much as you need to, but getting that first draft down, I think is you've just got to throw everything at it.
And then someone in the audience asked, do you like complete silence or background noise while you write?
I currently have the background noise of a quite upset baby.
Aw. All right, so we'll wrap
she's with her dad though, so she's absolutely fine. I normally have music playing when I write, but
with lyrics or no lyrics?
Well, I can't have English lyrics, because there's too much going on. So, but I listen to a lot of West African music, which is often in French or in various sort of West African languages, none of which I speak. So I have the music, and I like having the voices, but I'm not listening to the meaning. So that's what I listen to.
All right, very cool. And so where can readers find you if they wanted to find you on social media, or where do you hang out?
I am only on Instagram. I've never embarked on Twitter/X or TikTok, which I probably should, but there's so many these days. I sound about 100 years old.
There are a lot. It's hard to keep up.
But yeah, I'm on Instagram, just I think k.ailes or cat.ailes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love seeing the book popping up on Instagram. It feels amazing to see people reading it.
Yeah,
it's great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here. And we do have a book giveaway. I'm going to give it to Starry Night. She's been the best commenter for here. So if you want to send me an email at lisa@lisaseifert.com, we'll get that book sent out to you. So
great.
Yay.
Well, thanks so much for having me on for a chat.
Yeah.
It's been lovely.
Yeah, and thanks for educating me on all things British. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.